everybody, and welcome into the Mountaineer Postgame Show presented by West Virginia on SI. I'm Schuyler. That is West Virginia great Eugene, Napoleon, and the Mountaineers finding a way to get a win in the most dramatic of fashion. Why wouldn't it be? After this team has gone through it the last couple of weeks, or last week or so with the backyard brawl. But before we dive into our analysis, as always, taking a look here at the final numbers. Garrett Green didn't have a great start to the day. He had a tremendous finish, 15 of 30, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, did have the 2 interceptions, but he also led the Mountaineers with 87 rushing yards, a lot of which came there in that final drive or two of the game, including a rushing touchdown. Hudson Clement had another big day, 7 catches, 150 yards, really his first big-time performance against a Power 4 opponent, so good news to see from that. And Hudson Clement. On the flip side for Kansas, Devin Neal, his 16th career 100-yard rushing game. We knew that was going to be the big difference, or the big factor, I should say, for Kansas, and he was certainly that 110 yards and a touchdown. And, Gene, what a game, huh? I mean, West Virginia kind of felt like they were somewhat in control, even though it was a very ugly 14-7 game at the half. Then you have the second half come into play. Kansas kind of takes control, feels like they're going to maybe go and win this game. Then you have the 2-hour delay again. Another one of those. Kansas comes back out. They get a stop. Then they go up 11. You're thinking, oh, my goodness, here we go again, right? This is going to be 1-3. I'm sitting there thinking about, man, this is going to be a fun post-game show, isn't it? It's sitting here talking about 1-3 to start the year. But lo and behold, Garrett Green and that defense make it count when it counts most, and they're able to come back and get the win.
Listen, to me, that's the most important thing. And Green is a baller. Okay, he is a baller. That second half, he put the offense on his back and said, "I'll get it done. I got you. No matter what you call, coach, I got you. I'm gonna get it done." Through the air with his legs. To me, he's a baller. Now, our defense stepped up when they needed to, and that's the mark of I'll say, a developing defense. Hey, I'll take it. You do what you need to do. You make the plays when you need to make the plays. Yeah. They stepped up. They made crucial stops when they needed to, and of course, to close it out, I'll call it a strip sack. I'll take that. Yes.
And let's be honest. Tyron Bradley was getting held like crazy on that play too. I'm surprised the flag wasn't thrown.
Yeah.
But you got the strip sack. It was the game winner.
That's it. I'll take it. I'm feeling much better with this type of win than if we'd have lost this game. All right. So I'll take it.
Yeah, Kansas certainly had their way on the ground, as we kind of expected. We previewed it in the Walkthrough Game Day show that they were going to run the ball like crazy. They did 47 times for 247 yards, 3 touchdowns. They were problematic on the ground game. The passing, though, was much better for West Virginia's defense. They did have some chunk plays, of course, but held Jalen Daniels to 184, a touchdown and a pick. Clearly, without a doubt, their best day in the back end. And that's considering the fact that they lost TJ Crandall early in the game. Garnett Hollis had a little bit of an injury. He came back. Aubrey Burks was out for much of the game. He got carted off and was transported to the hospital. There were a lot of injuries there in that first half of the West Virginia defense. And even though Kansas kind of made their way down the field there toward the end to make it just even that much more thrilling or nail-biting type of a situation, again, Tyron Bradley comes up big when they need him most. He also had the interception in the first half. So what a game for Tyron Bradley. But, Gene, I want to ask you about Hudson Clement. 7 catches, 150 yards. We really haven't seen this type of performance from him in a big-time – or against not a big-time opponent, but a conference opponent or someone of that stature. He's had moments here and there. He had the Houston catch last year, had some others as well, but – this feels like it was a coming out party for him, and it may seem like he might be their number 1 receiver.
Oh, no doubt about it. I like him. I really do. Played really big today when you needed him. Probably, listen, wouldn't surprise me if he's the Big 12 player of the week.
Yeah, 21 yards a catch.
Man, it wouldn't surprise me. But no, this was his coming out party, and you know what? It's something to build on. that's the cool thing. It's something to build on. Definitely builds his confidence. And he's big time, man. He really is. He had some really big catches today. And put it this way, much needed in a timely game where he need, they all need to step up, but he really answered the bell today. He really did. Great game.
What I'll say about this win in general is it wasn't pretty by any means. It was far from perfect. And I don't know that I even feel that much better about this group heading into the bye week just because of the fashion and what happened today. You
Right.
still have a lot of issues. The offense is still, I don't believe, anywhere near what it was a year ago. That's got to get corrected in the bye week. The defense, I mean, you gave up 240 some yards on the ground after you did a really good job against the run last week. So you've got to find that balance out as you make strides continually against the pass. But at the end of the day, you found a way to get a win. You're 1-0 in league play. And this is what we talked about, Gene. Like, you can forget about what happened in the non-conference. This is when the season starts in this new era of college football. It's all about how you perform in league play. You're 1-0. You go on the road after the bye week to Stillwater, but then you come back home for 2 games. So might as well go ahead and take a quick look here at the schedule. The road ahead, of course, as I mentioned, the bye week. Then you play Oklahoma State. You come back for Iowa State and Kansas State, a critical 2-game stretch there at home before going on the road to Arizona. This is a very tough stretch. We've talked about this for a long time, but you have to feel at least a little bit better in some ways because think about it. This was the exact same situation that Pitt was in a week ago in the backyard brawl. They were down 10 points, found a way to come back and score, get a stop, get another score, and get a stop and win the game. West Virginia down 11. You feel like probably confidence is teetering. You score, get a stop, get a score, get a stop, and you're walking out of this thing 1-0 in league play.
Which we needed. So here's the deal. I'm glad we're going into 1-0 in league play in a bye week versus 0-1 in league play in a bye week. We
Yeah.
needed this. So I'll take it. They'll get a chance to correct some things. I know that they will. It's important. It's imperative that we do that. But it feels so much better going into a bye week with a victory, especially in league play, than a loss. So I'll definitely take it. Look at the film, learn from this game, correct some things, and go into Stillwater, hopefully, and get a win. And let your season go on from there. So I'm good with it. I don't look, it's an ugly win. I'll take an ugly win.
Ever a birdie loss every day.
Hey, I'll take absolutely.
I mean, it was that close to being one of those feelings or situations where you felt like this was going to start to spiral out of control because you're down 11. If they don't get a score on that drive and make the come and get the stop and obviously complete the comeback, you're 1-3 going into that bye week, and you're at that 4-game mark where there's going to be
Yeah,
some guys that may think about, hey, we're at the 4-game mark. We're not going anywhere. It feels like I might just hop in the portal or sit the rest of the season out, hit the portal.
yeah.
And then you have that lack of confidence going into the bye. There's all this talk continuing about Neil Brown, and I'm sure it'll pop back up again at some point in the 2024 season. But for now, it's going to go away for 2 weeks, and you go into this thing feeling just a little bit better about going into Stillwater. I mean, a win in this game, I hate to call a game a must win, but this was as must win as it gets in late September.
No, listen, Schuyler, you hit it on the head. No. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. This was a must win.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You had to win this game going into the bye week. It's your first league play game at home, and you have a bye after this. No, you had to win this game. So I'm good with that. I'm just hoping that hopefully, they got nicked up a little bit today, injury bugs here and there. I'm hoping that they can get that corrected, get the defense corrected a little bit, clean up some things on offense. And like I said, go into Stillwater hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah, and really the only concerning thing I think for me offensively, well, not the only thing, but one of the main concerns was they were never able to get the running game going outside of Garrett Green. CJ Donaldson, he only had 38 yards, but he did have 6 yards a carry. They just didn't feed him enough. He had 6 carries. Jaheim White pretty much wiped out of this one, 6 carries for 15 yards. Rodney Gallagher also had a couple of runs for 12 yards, but they've got to get the run game going. That's obviously something that they're going to have to lean on throughout the rest of the season. They've shown it already this year, so I don't think that's a major concern. My biggest concern really is Garrett Green. Through 4 games now, he's got 4 interceptions, which matches his total from all of last year, and we talked about it all offseason. He's supposed to be in that higher 50s, low 60s% completion percentage range, and he's still kind of like where he's at, where he was a year ago. That's a big concern also heading into the bye week.
No doubt. Well, I think, and again, the bye week should help clear up some things. Go back in the film room, get back into your film study, get back into your paying attention to details as a quarterback. You know, the OC and the head coach sit down with him and go over some things. And just, I personally think he's thinking too much, in my humble opinion. I think he's pressing too
And
much.
trying to do too much, yeah.
100%. Just in a minute, the game is going to have to slow down for him, where it let the game come to you. Don't try to press it. Don't try to do too much, and go from there. So I think this bye week, thank goodness it came at the right time, where he has to settle in a little bit. That's all. I really think he'll be fine. He's that type of player.
Yeah.
He has the ability to, so he just needs to settle down a little bit. He'll be fine.
It's a good time for him to kind of take a step back, catch his breath, because I mean, you had the Penn State game, which was hyped up. You had the backyard brawl, so disappointing. Then you go into league play with your backs against the wall already. It's a good time to take back or to step back and take a deep breath. But here's my thing with him. With him at quarterback, you're always going to have a chance. He's tough. He's
Absolutely.
gritty. He's a fighter. He's a baller, like you said. He's just a flat out dog, and that's why when they got the ball back after the stop, I didn't. Field goal was never really even in my mind. It was they're going to go down and score this thing. It's all going to come back down to the defensive thing, get one more stop there at the little bit of the end of the game. So even though it wasn't a terrific day passing, he started to get a little bit going there towards the end of the game. He used his legs. He was the difference maker in this game for West Virginia. It may have not looked pretty statistically, but like we said, it's a win in the win column, and that's all you can ask for. So that'll do it for us here today. Oh, well, I guess this evening it was a noon game, finishing here in the evening, but West Virginia beating Kansas 32-28 in the Big 12 opener. They moved to 1-0 conference play, 2-2 on the year. And we will be back next week with some between the ears episodes. We will not have a walkthrough game day show since there's no game to preview, but we will have Gene back on for an episode of Between the Ears to further dissect this game, get some more thoughts on it after we take a few days to breathe and relax and see what we make out of it after rewatching it. But 32-28 West Virginia over Kansas in the Big 12 opener. For Eugene and Napoleon, I'm Callihan. Thank you for watching the Mountaineer postgame show presented by West Virginia on SI.